We are on cycle 1, week 12 for science, and we are going to be doing the Kingdoms of Living Things project this week. So this is going to be a super fun week, but there's going to be a lot of moving parts. So I'm going to go over the materials that we're going to have for you first, and then I'll go through the script and kind of how we're going to run the project. So each tutor is going to get a poster board like this for each of the students. So they each are going to get their own to work on. And I am going to take this diagram. It's the Kingdoms of Living Things, and it has Animalia, fungi, plantae, bacteria, archaea, and protista on here. And I am going to go to Office Max, and we're actually going to make this a little bit bigger on 11 by 14, and we're going to glue it on here. So this is going to be all ready for the kids to be able to then take their Animalia, fungi pictures, and they're going to glue them onto their board. And we will have these printed up. Each tutor is going to get a set. So we've got, your Animalia, we've got invertebrates, plantae, and so on and so forth. And so these are going to be printed up, and each tutor that has a science bin is hopefully going to be able to cut these up. And this is going to depend on what the ages of your students are, how you want to do this. For the younger kids, it's been suggested that you are going to want to, for instance, have your Animalia at one station, have your fungi at another station, and then just have the kids take their poster board around. You're going to need glue sticks. That's something that you as tutors are going to need to pull out of your bin. You're going to want to have glue sticks at each station if this is the way you decide to do it, and they're just going to take their poster board around to the different stations and glue like 3 or 4 items from each table onto their poster. And then for the bigs, you might want them to actually have to decipher which is Animalia, which is fungi. And so you might decide for the bigger ones that you want all of these pictures to kind of be just combined in a pile, and they have to pick out their Animalia, their plantae, and put them in the right categories. So you tutors, that's up to you how you think that would go best for your students. And then I am also going to print some copies for parents and tutors who are helping the kids with this project. This is just the definition of each of the different categories. So if there's a question, this will hopefully help you with that. So those are our materials for this week. And so our script is going to go something like this. Our question or our purpose is to learn more about the kingdoms of living things by doing this hands-on project. For research, you can ask the kids, what have you already learned? Have you already learned about the kingdoms of living things? And they should be able to answer yes, because we learned about this cycle 1, week 2. So you can go through that song with them if you want. But the kingdoms of living things, of course, are Animalia, plantae, fungi, protista, archaea, and bacteria. I've also included on the script here a couple of YouTube videos. If you have time, you probably won't, but these are really good videos I found that went through the classifications of living things, and then also another one goes through the 6 kingdoms of classification and how animals actually get their names. And so that might be something fun for at home that you could send to parents after we do this if you'd like. So we are going to go through our hypothesis. Today we're going to learn a little bit more about the kingdoms of living things. But first let's talk about how and why scientists even have a kingdom of living things list and a classification of living things list. The science of naming and describing and classifying organisms is called taxonomy. And the founder of that classification system was Carl Linnaeus. But when you think about it, God, who is a God of order, really is the originator of the idea of classifications. Did God create the heavens and the earth in a hodgepodge? And the kids will all answer no, I'm sure. And so just thinking about how he created each thing on a specific day, and he named everything, and so just going through that with them. But then we can go back to Mr. Carl Linnaeus came up with this system for identifying and grouping living things so that it works well for identifying things. And then we will go into, that would be kind of your introduction to the project. And then you can have the kids start to work on their poster boards. And in the end, you can kind of have each child show their poster board and ask them if they got everything in the right categories, and how difficult was it for them to figure out where the different pictures went. And then for a conclusion, when you think about it, the job of classifying every single living thing on Earth is huge, and hopefully this project will kind of give them a sense of that. Mr. Linnaeus was a professor and would send his best students around the world to collect plant, animal, and shell specimens to be classified. And then you can have them guess how many specimens he collected, and the answer is around 40,000. And that's a lot of stuff to keep track of. So his original classification system consisted of only 3 kingdoms: animal, plant, and mineral. And eventually the mineral category was dropped because minerals aren't alive. And now we've added a few kingdoms. And so you can end with singing the classification for living things song, which they should all know. And that should wrap up week 12.